Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman, and thanks for being with me for another YouTube question and answer video of the week. If you're new to the channel, I always just encourage you, please go to my website, which is themodernshaman.net. That is the best way to find out kind of what all you can get involved in if you're into this type of conversation and wanting to learn more about your intuitive gifts, about a sense of energetic understanding of the world in which we live in. Please take a look at my online courses. Again, those are on the website. They're just at themodernshaman.net, and then you go up to teaching and you go into online courses. That curriculum is phenomenal, you guys, and I developed it over all of these years working in the paranormal community, teaching this curriculum and traveling around and just helping people develop their own awareness of the sacred intuitive arts, and then honing those skills in a way that develops a sense of precision and control and confidence. So if you're into this kind of thing, I would encourage you to go to the website and check it out. Also, I am touring a ton this year, so go online and see if maybe I will be in your area. I am going to be in, Chicago in a few weeks in March. And then I will be in Hawaii in May. I will be in Houston in June. I will be in Japan in July. I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina in August. And I think that's it for now. There always might be more tour dates added to the schedule. But please feel free to go online. I love connecting with you guys in person because so much of this platform and all the other social media platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram that you're connected with me through, there's always an interaction on the soul level, and then when I get to meet face to face, it's just such a beautiful time of cohesive connection. So please, if you are anywhere near where I'm going to be, come out for the lectures or the seminars, or for just to sit with me in a session, or just to give me a hug, or go to dinner, or have a sense of connection time. I would love that. All right, so let me get into the question of the week. This was sent in by a viewer, and it says, "Hi Rachel, I love your channel so much and I always learn something new. I wanted to ask about sending people energy. Oftentimes when people are going through something and I hear about it on Facebook or via social media, I have this desire to send them energy. I know everyone says this, but I genuinely do it. But sometimes it feels kind of open-ended and I'm not sure if it's effective or if they're receiving it. But this desire is so strong. It's like I know they need energy and my body wants to share it. I can feel when someone needs the energy, you know. How can I get better at this? How can I sharpen my skills?" Well, you have come to the right place, Mama. I would love to answer this question, and I do think that those of us that are clairsentient, that have the psychic gift of feeling other people's energy, can feel when someone's energetic field is depleted and needs that revivification of their own energy or a sense of boost to what they're going through. So let's talk about, I teach this. I teach this in my psychic development and sacred intuitive arts curriculum about energy manipulation, the power of energy. I mean, we swim and breathe and live energy. We are energy. Everything you see here is energy. So learning the skills of how to hone your energetic awareness, how to shape energy, how to send energy, manipulate it, transform it, transmute it. This is what I teach. Well, some of what I teach. Because there's a lot of stuff that I teach in the curriculum, but you are right on track. And so we'll go into some basics. We'll go into 3 different forms of energy manipulation, okay? And by manipulation, I don't mean that you're being manipulative. I just mean that you are shifting and shaping form. not unlike clay, right? Or some sort of artistic endeavor where you're taking something and through a conscious effort, you are directing it and channeling it more for a very specific purpose, okay? So one way to send energy is to send it in a diffused setting or a diffused light. And this is a general type of sending energy when someone needs something energetic that will kind of move them into a space of general well-being. This is for sending peace, sending calm, sending ease. This is when someone's going through aspects in their life when it's very chaotic, very stressful, maybe a move, or maybe they lost a job, or maybe they're going through the grief process. When you're just wanting the fritzed out energetic centers of their body to be calm and have a bit of mist-like energy, then we would send an energy in a diffused, manipulated manner. So when we send diffused energy, it's sent in the shape of a sphere. All right, now spherical energy is all evenly distributed. This is why spherical, like crystals, crystal balls, or you'll see selenite balls, all sorts of stones and crystals and gems that have been turned spherical. This evenly distributes all of the energy. This is the same with liminal spaces, right? Sacred spaces, spaces set aside for ceremonial purposes. When they are moved into a circular manner, they evenly distribute the energy, all right? And so when we send energy to be evenly distributed, this is when you just want it to fall on that person and encapsulate them in an overarching energy of ease. Or you can infuse that sphere into whatever type of emotional combination that you want, whether it be peace or serenity, love, like I said, relaxation, ease, well-being. This is a diffused type of energy to send. So when you're sending this energy, if you want to practice the sense of skill on it, then you can move, I would close your eyes, move into your psychic vision if you're doing this remotely. And I would activate the physical sensation of your palm chakras, especially if you are clairsentient, if you feel the sensational aspect of energy. I would activate the palm chakras and literally feel like you are holding a sphere, okay? Make it as large as you want. I would see it in your internal vision and lean into all of your psychic senses. So see it, hear it, feel it, know that this is the energy that you're creating. Then I would fill it with a sense of color, okay, with light, with that particular energetic color or light spectrum energy that is associated with what you would like to send to them, whether it's healing energy of well-being, very green and vibrant and life-giving and sustaining for health, whether it's love, would be that sense of pink, kind of that rosy quartz color. And these can be colors that are in association to you. They can be more scientifically associated with the chakras or with the auras. You can move into it intuitively, feeling like they need that color, vibrational frequency of purple or what have you. And then you would intentionally send this energy by thinking the thought of their name or some sort of connector. These names are great emotional cords. They create cords from one to the other. That's why we use them in this realm. Names are not super useful in the non-physical realm. We don't need them. But here we need them to create a sense of cording. You can think of memories of that person also. But essentially, all you need is that sense of connector point from you to the other. And then I would direct your palms outward and send that sphere of energy to that person, seeing them receiving it, seeing it soaking into their body or creating a capsule around them, almost like a cocoon, settling that energy and assimilating that fine mist-like diffused energetic energy that you just sent to them. So sit with it until you see them receiving it. Once it's been fully received, you let go of it and give a sense of gratitude and thanks for that reception. The second way that I will share of sending energy and being a little bit more direct about how to shape and manipulate the form of energy is when we move into the wave forms. So wave forms of light, right? Light can act as particles, wave. So waveform doesn't mean that it's always looking like a wave, but it can be shaped like this. It can be moved into different alignment. Now, when light is vertically polarized, it can flatten or create a sense of a line, a linear, flattened, polarized aspect to the way that the light is shaped. And so when we polarize the light, we can direct it in a more beam-like fashion, like a laser beam. So this is a much more concerted, directed effort of what you want to send to this person. So this would be when you needed the energy to come in a more sharp manner, when they need confidence, when someone is needing strength, when someone is needing a stronger backbone, when they're needing help getting out of an abusive relationship, when they're needing confidence going into a job interview, when they're needing to make a difficult decision for their life, and you really want to send them an energy that feels bold and a lot more formative in terms of the direction. So this is a powerful transmutation of the light, of the energy, and shifting it into a form that has a very direct momentum to it. All right, and it can be undulating like the wave. If you're wanting something to come in a sense of undercurrent, meaning you're wanting the impact to also move through and impact others, like that example that I gave with the job interview. You may send the energy very sharp and direct, like an arrow through the backbone of the person that you're wanting to help and send the energy to, and then you may move it out in wave-like fashion to all of those that are in the room interviewing that person, as if to create a sense of megaphone of that person's energy to make them the most dominant energy in that room, to where their energy is receptive and received in that wave-like pattern. So you can first send it sharp and then wave out the rest of the receptive energy to it. Okay, there's a little bit more precision in terms of teaching how to do that, but I'll break it down for you. So the way that we send sharper energy, or this wave-like form of the light, is you move same into that psychic vision of getting very intentional. So I would close your eyes, I would activate all of your internal psychic senses, and I would see the energy coming through you, whether it's coming through your third eye like a laser beam, coming from your heart space like a laser beam, can come from your solar plexus as well, because this is the seat of the will, our powerhouse, our internal sun. And so I would activate that energy first if you're wanting to send and imbue. You can also pull energy up from the earth or from the sky and let it pour through you, channel through you into them. Then I would shape the energy in the palm chakra, just as we did creating the sphere. I would shape and pull out exactly what it is that you want to create, whether it's a arrow, whether it's a laser beam. You can kind of feel it here, almost like a unicorn horn or something, right? Where you can see beams of light coming out here, through here, a beam of light here, and you will literally just shape that beam as tight and constricted and focused as you want, almost like a pinpoint precision. This is that laser intentional energy. Or you can send it out in this amplification, almost like a Wi-Fi signal, these frequency light wave transmissions that kind of move in that wave-like undulated pattern. So, and you will want to activate that same thought of the person, the name, creating that cord or that link to who you're sending it to. And then you simply send out the energy. Now, when you're sending it with a very targeted shape, I always like to activate a sense of momentum through it. And so I would move the hands in a sense of push, or I would move the breath. I like to use my breath. I like to push straight from the heart chakra or from the throat chakra, and I do an actual sound with it. So I'll move a sense of like, move. If that's pushing, this is pushing from the higher heart. You'll feel exactly where the sound is coming from, or whether it's lower, whether it's solar plexus. So I push out with that sense of very directed energy of where I'm sending it from, who I'm sending it to. And you can make the shape of the mouth equivalent in the shape of the beam. So this is similar to the aperture of a camera lens. If you've ever studied photography, right? The aperture of a lens is how large the opening is to let in the light. So you're doing the same thing with the aperture of your mouth and mimicking the same in the structure of your vocal cords. You can get really precise with it here, but just in general for this video, I would utilize the shape of the mouth in an equivalent energy and shape in terms of the aperture of how much energy you want to send out. So if you want the energy to be very precise and laser-like and tight and focused on a very specific area, like if you're going into a certain area of the body that needs healing, if they're going through chemotherapy, or they have prostate cancer and you want to focus just on the prostate, wherever you want to focus, if you want to have that laser-like precision, I would create a tighter aperture with the mouth, and I would push straight from that area of the body that feels like you have the most strength or prowess to push in terms of your own energy, whether it's from the belly, whether it's from the throat or the heart or the higher heart chakra for the third eye, and push that energy out. It doesn't have to have a sound, but it does add an amplification through the vocal cords when you do so. Just like a megaphone, right? It amplifies and strengthens the energy. So once that's done, you wait until it's received by them. So I would stay with the internal psychic vision, seeing them receiving the energy, seeing that particular organ receiving the energy, feeding off of it, or strengthening, vivifying. You can add that color, like I mentioned in the first step. If you want to add a color, green in terms of healing, pink in terms of love, red in terms of passion and fire and active energy. So white in terms of purification, in terms of holiness, in terms of any sort of higher vibrational light energy. So you can add the color and then sit with it until you see that they've received it, and then give gratitude. The third way that I will share in terms of shaping energy, manipulating energy with more precision and focus is the particle type of light, quantum energetic healing, quantum energetic transmutation. So quantum energy, remember Einstein called it spooky energy, right? The way that a particle can show up in one place and at the same time in another place. It can have seemingly chaotic responses. It can move somewhere, turn around, retract itself, and move straight back in the opposite direction. The momentum doesn't seem to have anything to do with the trajectory. It is very much based on intentional psychic direction, our thoughts, the observer to the energy itself. And so we have so much control in the quantum realm with the way that energy reacts. And it is so powerful. So this is when you want to really use it for healing, when you want to get into a very specific area of the body, very specific, and this can be emotional body, this can be karmic body, meaning these can be patterns that need to be retracted and transmuted and shifted and shaped. And with this, you can literally send the energy in, clean something up, clear it up, scrape it out, like you're scraping off with a snowplow all of the debris from someone's trauma. Then you can shift the energy into a wave form. You can soak it with a sense of love and very intentional color. You can move it into a transmuted momentum, creating a new cyclical fashion of strength, of creating an inner whirlwind or whirlpool of fashion, of moving its own momentum into itself, of building a sense of internal strength. You can create a healing component to it, and then you can move straight out. So you can move in, you can clear up, and then you can move straight out. It is incredibly useful in terms of moving and shaping into anything. And this is where the artistry comes into play. This is where we can mold the energy into any shape. We create the painting into any sort of fashion that amplifies the beauty and the truth and the purity of what we're trying to do. So the way that you do this type of energy sending is similar to the beginning process. First, moving internal, activating all of your psychic senses, and you need to work first with the highest precision in your integrity. So you need to get very, very in line with your intentional energy. If you don't know how to line up with intention, right? So I would encourage you to move in a posture that's very firm and like, I mean what I'm doing, because this is all based on the observation. If you've ever studied any sort of quantum mechanics or looked into what makes the light wave act like a wave or a particle, or what shifts any sort of interaction with the quantum tunneling or the quantum entanglement, how these things work, is that it's so based on our intentional energy as the observer. And so you have to get very, very precise with what you're intending to do and stay with the energy until it shifts, until you see every step of the process. So this is done a lot through our psychic realm of intentional focus with extreme precision and precision of the heart as well. It has to be active in the emotional body. So we activate the mental mind, moving into our psychic vision of what we want the energy to do. If we want it to start as a very directed arrow, maybe we want to laser-like focus in, maybe we want to move in and open the body up and get a sense of clarity to what is going on, if there's disease, if there's emotional trauma. And then maybe, like I shared just a minute ago, I'll use that example of scooping out. We want the energy to act like a scoop. So we would visualize that shovel. We would literally, as if it is shifting in its form, not unlike Fantasia or something that we've seen, unlike a flame, right? Where you can see it shift up and dance as the chemical reaction is coming up with all of the ions in the air, right? It's shifting its kind of form, or a wave itself as it's cresting and creating that whitewash. It's shifting its form. And so we want to shift the form into that shovel-like fashion. We want to see the energy scooping itself out. We want to hear almost like it's breaking up the ice, or sometimes I will hear it breaking up almost like an iron milling up those chemicals, those minerals, creating them, grinding them like a pulp, and then moving that momentum out. And you can move it and shape the energy almost like into a straw to pull now with an extraction-based energy in the opposite direction. So you're shifting now in a quantum level, not just to push in and break up, but then now you're shifting the energy into a hollow spherical tube-like fashion and moving the momentum backward. So first you create the shape of the imagery, the color that goes with it, and then you pull. And when you pull, if you'd like to utilize a sense of momentum through the mouth, you can use that same aperture that I talked about earlier in step 2, making the mouth the shape that you'd like to pull and direct the energy back, just to add a sense of believable fashion. This leans our sense of precision as the observer of the quantum energy, the shaper of that quantum mechanic that you're forming, to pull back. So then you would shape the mouth in that aperture. You'd pull it back. Make sure not to swallow it down into your own body, but you pull back, pulling that energy out, or whatever it was that you created and broke up, and pulled that energy out and moved it, and then move into that diffused manner that I talked about in step 1, where everything gets misty, fine, and diffused. This is that spherical shape. You can send it up into the sphere of the sun. You can send it down into the sphere of Mother Earth to recalibrate and use that energy to build almost like a manure, to build a sense of new molecules within her belly. She'll know what to do with it. The same with the sun, whether it burns and brings a new chemical reaction from what was just brought out of the body and transmuted out. So I know that was a fast and furious little video about sending energy, but there's so much to learn and so much that you can really harness when learning to shape and mold with a sense of energetic precision within the world that we live, and how to send and truly have a sense of power and knowledge and confidence in the way that you are able to help others with your energetic capabilities. I hope this blesses you guys. Mwah! I'm sending you all love. Stay tuned and come back next week for another video.